Hello, you're tuned into Coast to Coast Real Estate with Jaqueline Steib. This podcast will take us all across the globe as we learn the ins and outs of real estate from the industry's top advisors. Here we are now with Jaqueline Steib.
Thank you for tuning in to Coast Real Estate. I am your host, Jaqueline Steib, broadcasting simultaneously from Manhattan Beach, California, and Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. In today's episode, we will get to know Adam Cannon with Piatt Sotheby's International Realty. Without further ado, allow me to introduce you to Adam Cannon. Hi, Adam.
Hey,
how are you?
Hi, how are you?
Doing great. I know some people in the industry call you by a very famous name, but I'm sure
Oh God, I
don't
know it.
in your own time. Come on, Willy Wonka. Nobody's ever called you that.
I may have heard that before, yes.
So, tell our listeners a little bit about you. Who are you?
Okay, now you've got their curiosity piqued, I'm sure. So I'm an agent here in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I'm with Piatt Sotheby's International Realty. I am starting my fourth year in real estate. In a previous life, I owned candy stores here in Pittsburgh, and that, I guess, where the Willy Wonka thing comes from. I was a retail guy most of my life, made a manager of a retail store when I was about 18 years old, and then continued to run or own retail stores, specialty retail. My wife and I had a baby store together, and then I got into the candy business for a few years. There was a number of events that led me to get into real estate. I've been doing this, loving every minute of it. On a more personal note, I have 5 kids, ages 6 through 17. And I coming up on 18 years of marriage. I actually was a little iffy on the number, so I texted my wife. I got myself in a little bit of trouble, like, how long have we been married? Is it almost 18 years? So I'll be making that up to her later. But yeah, almost 18 years.
At least you're checked for accuracy.
Right. Yeah, I didn't want to go on the record with the wrong number. Yes, that's a little about me.
How do you end up in Pittsburgh?
I'm born and raised. I never left. My father always likes to say he never lived within further than 5 miles from the hospital he was born in. I'm not much different. I've lived in different places in Pittsburgh, born and raised here. I love it. It's in my bones. When my wife married me, she acknowledged that she'd be stuck here forever too, because this is home for me.
It comes with a package.
It's part of the deal, package deal. Me in Pittsburgh. Yeah.
What's the one thing you love the most about that city? Obviously, you haven't felt the need to find somewhere else to live. So tell me about it.
The first thing that comes to mind is family. My parents live 20 minutes away. Most of my family is here in Pittsburgh. I come from a close family. So that's obviously a big part of it. But I love this city. I love the character. I love the history. I love just this revival that Pittsburgh has gone through. If you ask people around the country about Pittsburgh, a lot of them have this antiquated vision of steel mills and smoke and ash and fire and just industrial town. But we've gone through such a renaissance here with the rise of tech industry, tech, med, ed. I mean, we've just got amazing universities and amazing companies. We've got Argo AI and Google and Uber, and they've all have a presence here, and Amazon is here. And it's just a bright, vibrant city. And we have such distinct neighborhoods that, you can go from Squirrel Hill to Polish Hill to Lawrenceville to Swickley, Fox Chapel. I mean, they're just such wildly different areas with such great character. It's such a varied, diverse, interesting city. I just never get bored with it. And I love the people. There's a certain attitude in Pittsburgh, a fairly easygoing, kindness to the people here, and I've just never seen any reason to leave.
It sounds like a good place to visit. We have family there, so have to one day come over and visit the cousins, and then we'll come over and say hi to you too.
Please do. I think they're not far from me, right?
They are not far. We talk about this, and I think they're about maybe 5 to 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay, take me back and tell me, what's your favorite childhood memory?
The first thing that pops in my mind is that our family, my dad's cousin, first his uncle, then his cousin, had a cabin about an hour and a half from Pittsburgh on the river. and we just knew it as the river. So we would go up to the river on the weekends. And when I was growing up there was no, there was no electricity in the main house. There was an outhouse. You know, it was fairly rustic, but we would go and we would play from morning till night. And we had this big open field and acres of woods to run around and explore, and swimming in the river and water skiing and just exploring this area. And I loved it. I absolutely loved it. And my kids have since been up there. I spent so much of my time outside as a kid, just exploring. And even, you know, where I grew up in the West End of Pittsburgh and Sheridan, you know, we were that story where it was like, you know, when it was summertime, you get out of the house in the morning and get back when the street lights come on, and we would just explore the woods and the city and play baseball. And I just, you know, getting dirty, exploring. That was my childhood. My wife messes with me because she'll ask me, "Hey, did you see this movie in the 1980s?" I'm like, "No, I was outside playing. I did not see that movie." So that's my warm, fuzzy childhood memory. I had very fond memory, very good childhood.
If you grew up in that era, there was not much to the TV. Like, come on, the fun is outside, not in front of the TV with a couple channels.
Right, maybe some Saturday morning cartoons. Yeah, that was about it.
Yep. Who was the first person who believed in you? I mean, once you decided you were going to do real estate, who backed you up?
So this is easy. This is my wife. My wife, Lily. Man, she knew long before I did, and it was a no-brainer to her. She always said, like, this is the thing you should do. I think you'd be great at this. This would be such a great fit. And it took me a lot longer to get comfortable with the idea. And she has no problem telling me that she told me so. But she really wanted me to make this move. And, you know, I'd done the same thing my whole life. And it's a scary thing, especially when you have as many kids as I do, to make such a drastic change in your career and go from, you know, an area where I had this certain degree of expertise to this thing that I don't know. I don't know how this is going to go. I don't know about not having a steady paycheck. That was all, it was just scary. It was just a scary thing for me. And she was right. It just fit like a glove. As soon as I got into it, I kicked myself for not having pursued it sooner, because I love it. It's just a good fit.
Well, thank you, Lily.
Yeah. She takes all the credit. She has no problem taking all the credit.
How did you join the Sotheby's family?
When I wrapped up my first year in real estate, I was very fortunate to hit the ground running. I started selling houses right away. I had a pretty great first year. I sold 33 homes my first year. I got a Rookie of the Year award. And I guess that was enough to maybe get the attention of some brokerages, and had started to make some friends in the industry. And to be blunt, I wasn't interested in talking to anybody else. I was watching, you know, Sotheby's, which has been in Pittsburgh for a few years now. I was watching Piatt Sotheby's going, man, I don't want to compete with them. Their stuff just looks so good. They're doing things that nobody else is doing. Their marketing is just so polished and well done. There seemed to be this camaraderie between the agents. It was just all very appealing. But honestly, I thought I was years out from ever being at Sotheby's. I thought, you know, I kind of viewed Sotheby's as this place you graduate to, right? Like, there's no way they're going to want some guy coming off his rookie year. And I had become friends with Robin Jones in my office. And we were friendly at that time. We've since become really, really good friends. And she asked me to go out and have coffee and talk about Sotheby's. You know, I tried to play it cool, like, well, you know, I'm going to think about it. But I was really, really excited. I felt like I got drafted to the big leagues, and and I made the move, and it's been a great fit, and I'm really glad I don't have to compete with the people at this company, you know, compete with Sotheby's agents. I'm glad to be one of them. Really, in the last year, I've started to develop friendships outside of the Pittsburgh Sotheby's, and you know, I've got some good friends around the country, and you and I have become buddies on through social media, and you know. Caroline Rigsby is like my BFF I've never met down in Nashville, and Dave Holland over in Oregon. Like, it's a cool thing. It's such great people in the company.
I have to agree with you. We have all of this great social friends, Sotheby's friends and family that we have only met through a screen or through a phone call. And it feels like, well, at least with this year, we didn't get that much of that personal connection with the human next to us. So I think it helped with that transition. And yes, Sotheby's is one to thank for, blame for. I don't know. You could use whatever adjective you wanted there.
Right.
Take me back to a day when you were showing a home and you're bringing your buyers. You open the door and there's this really smelly house. What's that smell that killed the deal?
There is one smell, and it has killed many deals, and it is cat pee. There is nothing quite like walking into a house that has been boarded up with a lot of cats. In fact, when my wife and I were shopping for, I guess it was our first home, I remember we opened a door and we didn't even get off the porch. It was like a punch in the face. It was just right in your eyeballs, just this burning, horrible. And we closed the door and said, that'll be enough. Thank you. Pass. And that's a tough smell sometimes for people to overcome. We have basements here in Pittsburgh. So sometimes, if something's not been taken care of, you'll get some musty, that kind of moldy, musty smell, especially if a home's been sitting. But man, there is nothing quite like a home where animals have run rampant.
Yeah, you got to rip off the whole floors and start all over, build a place up.
Yeah, exactly.
Now let's go create a happy memory of a smell. What's your favorite smell in a house?
Oh, this is easy. Food that I didn't cook. When you walk in and there's dinner and you had nothing to do with it, you just have to sit down and eat. Man, I don't think there's a better smell. So I would say that is up there with a fresh Christmas tree. Although I haven't had one in a few years. We went the fake route a few years ago, but there's something about that Christmas smell. So yeah, food I didn't cook and Christmas trees.
How do you get a house ready for the market?
Well, it really depends on the house. But, for example, today I've got a listing appointment today at 2:00. And the way that I usually start is that I go over and I meet with them, right? Because I'm hesitant to give a number until, a listing price until I've actually been in and seen the home. There's just too many intangibles and things that you calculate when you're pricing a home. So I never want to really get into that until I've seen the home. And at that appointment, I will usually have a honey-do list for people of things I think that they can do to get their home ready. Really, the biggest thing is just getting rid of stuff. Start the packing process, in it out. I kind of explain how real estate photography works, that with the human eye, when you look at an object across the room, everything in your peripheral blurs out. But with real estate photography, every inch of that room is crystal clear. And if you have too much stuff, it'll read as noise or static. It just looks cluttered. And you want people to get a sense of the space. So I usually give them a percentage of how much stuff I think they should get rid of. And sometimes it's, 5 or 10%, just tidy this up. And other times it's, oh man, you need to get rid of like half of this or more. That's part of it. And, there are plenty of people who I'm fortunate enough to start a team this year, and the three of us, Will and Brianna, have come on board, and they've just been hugely helpful. But also, we'll kind of go in together, and they both have a great eye, and we'll, try to stage with their possessions, rather than kind of pulling everything out and bringing staging stuff in. Like, can we make this work with what they have? And I always tell people, please don't, get your feelings hurt if I want to move this chair over here, or this couch over there, or move this art. It's really just about how it photographed. Clients have always been great with us and trusting that, we know what we're doing. And then, we do top-notch photography and drone fly-throughs and all the stuff that we do to get houses sold. And so far it's been a winning formula.
Fabulous. Does your stay require an attorney to help you guys with an escrow?
No, thankfully. No, it's, we use, you can, but we use settlement companies here, and the buyer picks the settlement company that they want to use. And sometimes, sellers, or if there's an estate or something, there'll be an attorney involved, but it's not traditional.
In California, we prefer to give the seller the choice of all of their services. So their escrow company normally comes from the listing agent. We find it that the difficult agents, so to speak, are the ones who want to be in control of who that company is. So it's an interesting perspective to say that the buyer.
Yeah, I'll admit I have a preferred settlement company who I just adore, and as the listing agent, I sometimes want to go, please, use this company. But no, it's buyer choice more often than not. It's not a problem.
Yeah, at the end of the day, you concentrate